It's Wednesday, June 22nd. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, in the year 2011, we talk about anime that we have not seen, opposite-wise.
Let's do this.
Awkwardly constructed episode title.
I think you could have come up with a better title than that.
I could have, but I didn't come up with one, and I'd already started saying the thing. So, yeah, that's what
we could
happens.
just go back and redo it later, and then this part will make no sense.
Which is, I don't know if I want to do that or not. I think it's a good meta joke either way.
Anyway, so you know what's really upsetting?
A lot of things. The fact that, the Patriot Act got extended, the wars in the world, poverty, obesity.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, so this New York Asian Film Festival is going to be coming to New York again.
Oh, and I think there's one thing that we really wanted to see.
As it does every year, and they're going to show something that is, last year there was some cool stuff that I wanted to see. Like there was, what was that crazy kaiju thing?
Oh, yeah.
That was playing at like midnight or something. It was like Kappa, Death Kappa or something like that. Something like, I don't wanted to see that. But
it was like the kind of thing we would usually go to see at like the 11 o'clock showing at Otakon.
Yeah, it was like a midnight showing, and I think Scott Johnson, people were over for some reason, but anyway. Well, we didn't go see it. But anyway, so this year, they're showing, basically, there's a new anime version of Tezuka's Buddha, or is it live action? It doesn't matter. I want to see that so bad.
I'm pretty sure it's animated.
Either way, they're showing it Thursday night and Sunday night, lining up right with Kineticon.
Which also lines right up with that My Little Pony convention.
We could go see it Thursday night and then leave for Kineticon immediately.
Yeah, we could, but we have responsibilities at the con.
But it's at 6:30, so it's not late Thursday night. So we could go watch it 6:30, 7, eat.
All right, so we get on
leave.
the road at like 9. We get to the con at like 11.
All right. What's wrong with that?
A lot of people check in on Thursday, stuff to do.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's the trouble of having responsibilities.
That's all right.
I should shirk.
It'll definitely be something we can see at some point in the future by hook or crook. But if you're, I guess this normally would be meta moment, but whatever. New York Asian Film Festival 2011, check it out. There's a lot of good stuff to see.
Yeah.
Kung Fu's, etc.
So I heard Spider-Man's dead.
Spider-Man's not real, so how can he be dead?
Well, in the comic universe, Peter Parker, who was Spider-Man, was killed by someone.
But that's only Ultimate Spider-Man, not regular Spider-Man.
See, I didn't realize until I read this article that there was a difference, because the guy writing the article was like, well, I thought they were all in the same stupid universe. Then this guy's like, oh, but in this universe, if you die, you're really dead. And in the other universes, you can come back. So this is the real deal Spider-Man death.
What? I don't know who's right. Basically, for people who don't know, right? Marvel Comics recognized that there was a problem, that people who had not been reading Spider-Man or X-Men or whatever for 100 years had a hard time getting into the Spider-Man, X-Men, and superhero comics, that have been going on since the 60s and the 70s. So they made, some years ago, actually a very long time ago already, many, many years ago, they made Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Avengers, actually it was called Ultimates as opposed to Ultimate Avengers. They made a whole bunch of Ultimate Fantastic Four, right? And these Ultimate comics were in their own universe. So it's like they made a new universe that had nothing to do at all with the old universe. And all those comics had the word Ultimate on the top. So you could just read those and not worry about anything else. And if you started at the beginning, you'd be all good. And, if you can still easily go and acquire all the trades of all those comics and read them from the beginning, and it won't be too expensive or take you that long, and you won't miss anything. And there's only a couple crossovers.
But about
they only cross over
60 issues in, Spider-Man dies.
Yeah, they only cross over with themselves, right? So it's not really that big a deal. It's all contained in like this little bubble. But the problem is that they kept that going for so long. It was actually kind of popular, that it eventually itself became too long and too big and too difficult for people to get into. So now
I've decided that it's not comics, it's everything. Nerds like worlds where they can Gandalf girth, and they like there to be continuity in things. Like if they read a Star Wars comic and it lines up good enough with the Star Wars movies, they love that shit.
Yep.
And I'm no exception. I like things like that. Comics like this just take it too far. You got to leave a lot more gaps and not, I don't know, I feel like too much continuity hurts all but the hardest of the hardcore nerds in terms of their enjoyment.
See, the problem isn't necessarily the world building or, such like that. The problem is the linearity and the serialness of it, right? For example, I could create a world, pick a fantasy world, Forgotten Realms. Perfect example, right? I can tell you a story in Forgotten Realms about Drizzt, who is very popular.
Yeah, we pretty much know everything Drizzt did.
I can tell
you.
you.
Do you even know who Drizzt was?
He was some guy with 2 swords, right?
What race was he?
I'm gonna guess Drow.
All right, you got that.
Really? Oh shit!
Yeah.
All right.
Was he a good guy or a bad guy?
I'm gonna guess bad guy.
It's complicated, actually.
Okay, sure. Anyway, all I know is that he's a guy.
You have no idea who Artemis Entreri is, though.
Not a clue.
Yeah.
I can also tell you another story about Elminster. All I know about him is he's like the most powerful wizard there was.
You know what I learned from Elminster?
Like Merlin equivalent.
You know what I learned from Elminster?
What?
When he was a girl, I learned a lot about what that author thought girls felt like when they had sex.
Okay.
And from that same author, I learned a lot about what turns elves on.
Right. Now, these are both in the same universe. If you're a nerd, you're going to love these things, right? If you're that kind of nerd. But you don't have to read the Drizzt story to also read the Elminster story. They don't go in order, necessarily.
True.
Right? It's not like part 1 Drizzt, part 2 Elminster.
But
right?
I think
it's not a serial tale. It's a bunch of separate tales all in the same world.
Part of that
piece
is that
together.
It's a very large world, and they didn't write that many stories inside of it. The stories they did write were broad and spread out across all these different places. Though some of them were very linear. There was like one series of like 8 books that all went together, and then another set of books that also kind of anyway.
But the Forgotten Realms is more like a jigsaw puzzle, and you can get each piece and sort of make out what's going on. And
I think jigsaw puzzles are better for the nerds in the long run.
Of course.
Than the line of Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah, see, what Marvel has is they basically have one long reel of film, and they give it to you in pieces, and it only goes in one order, and if you're missing a piece of the film, you can't play the movie. I mean, sure, there are plenty of times where they don't do that. It's sort of like they have a jigsaw puzzle and film together, sort of, right? Like I read, a bunch of Marvel cosmic stuff, like all the, Annihilation stuff.
But every time I'm making the jigsaw puzzle, there's all these missing Wolverine pieces.
Yeah. Every piece has Wolverine on it. Wolverine's on every single piece. It's either a claw or the horn on his hat thingy or something. He's on every piece.
Team A will be Psylocke and Wolverine. Team B, Cyclops and Wolverine. Team C, just Wolverine.
Yeah, so they're killing Ultimate Spider-Man, which I think they're sort of killing off Ultimate everything, from what I can tell. I think they're trying to end the Ultimate stuff. I could be wrong.
Well, from what I read,
that's the gist I'm getting.
There's already going to be another Ultimate Spider-Man. It's just not going to be Peter Parker because he's dead.
Oh, okay. I thought that I guess they're not ending Ultimate everything.
As far as I can tell. I mean, I have not read a Marvel comic since the end of the Executioner's song in X-Men.
Didn't you read many for this show, like X-Men Forever?
Oh yeah, I've read all those like individual bits here and there, but I have not like continued to read anything. I don't know the continuity.
Well, I stopped sort of when that cosmic stuff I just talked about sort of ended-ish.
I started with the end of Executioner's Song. I went back and read that whole like arc, and then I kept reading from there for a little, and I just kind of gave up.
Yeah. Oh well. They're killing. I wonder if they will actually bring him back or not.
I will bet you.
I think because it's Ultimate that they won't for quite a long time.
But they will eventually.
But it's like Captain America who got brought back.
In the very least, I will bet you this. I'll bet you $100 that within 3 years, Peter Parker will reappear in something that isn't a flashback.
But it has to be in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They'll probably go back in time and like talk to him about something.
They do that. That's another thing, right? It's like a lot of characters die, and even though they're still dead, they find some way to manage to put them in a story even when they're dead.
Just go back in time and kidnap them right before they die and bring them into the future.
Who knows? Anyway.
Didn't I do that to Chrono?
Anyway. So we all know about a lot of virtual idols like Hatsune Miku and such, right?
Yep.
That's sort of old news.
Scott Rubin.
Yeah. That's old news to us by now, even though it's news to the rest of the world. But check this out. All right, so what are their names? Girls' Generation, right? G, right? We talked about them on the show before.
That song never got stuck in my head?
You didn't listen to it enough.
Yeah.
You should have.
Very pointedly.
It's a good song.
It's okay.
kind of. Anyway, it's a good song for sticking in heads. So, over in Japan, Korea, I don't know about China, they have, these girl idol groups. It's like a big team.
Like Morning Musume.
Right? Yeah, it's like we can't just have Britney Spears. We got to have 20 Britney Spears in a group.
And every one of them
up.
likes something different.
So no matter who you are, one of them will be your favorite one.
That's the surly one. That's the bubbly one. That's the strange one.
And
that's the sexy one.
Instead of having, one person do a bunch of commercials, we can have them all doing all the commercials all the time because there's so AKB48 is one of those groups, very popular, especially among the nerds. And they recently released a commercial for a sort of candy called Ice No Mi Sweet. And in this commercial was a new member of the group named Aimi Eguchi. What they did not tell you until just now is that this Aimi Eguchi is not a real person. It looked like a real person in the commercial and sounded like a real person. Not like Hatsune Miku, which is obviously a digital person.
Yeah, well, I read a number. I was poking around about this because I wasn't aware until Scott pointed it out. And it seems like a lot of nerds had suspicions. They're like, wait a minute, I can't find any info on this girl.
Yeah, and they sort of put some fake info out there about her on, their website. Like, oh, she, did a photo shoot and, right? They made like a fake biography to try to convince you this is a real person. I got hiccups.
Good job.
And so, people were like, but it looked like a real person and it was in it. And then they finally came out with it like, nope, it's not a real person. They took different visual aspects of many different members of the group. So they took like one girl's eyes and one girl's hair and one girl's, lips and they digitally pasted them all together to make a new person that did not really exist. And they had one of their sort of, research students, which is like one of the, B team, like girl who works for them and is training to become a real member but isn't. They had her do the voice.
That would be a good plot for an anime.
Yeah, and so they made this fake person for this commercial, which is pretty cool.
2 predictions from Rim. 1, you know what our future is now? It's not going to be the Terminator 2 apocalypse. It's Macross Plus.
Of course.
Yeah. And 2, currently, what do? They used to, you have the one idol, like a Megumi or an Ayumi, but then you have the idol team, one idol for every kind of person. The real future now is going to be the virtual person where it detects who's watching and makes the perfect idol for that one person.
Oh, shit.
So everyone sees their perfect idealized idol.
That is some forward fucking thinking right there.
Yeah.
You get points for that one.
Because that's going to happen. That is so going to happen.
Like it knows what your tastes are, and of all the idols, it combines all of your favorite aspects of each one. So you're watching TV, I see something different from what you see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be seeing some Rainbow Dash.
Okay. But yeah, that's pretty fucked up right there.
So I have one more little news because Emily pointed this out to me and she would have totally gone for it if it was more convenient. Makoto Shinkai's studio is recruiting a very specific type of intern for the fall. Unpaid and all that. You got to get to the studio yourself.
I wonder what the laws of unpaid are in Japan. Probably much more lax than they are here.
You're probably
even
given
when the thing is they're not followed here at all.
I imagine in Japan you're given some sort of medal for if you hire the most people and pay them the least. So specifically, they're looking for young interns to do Makoto Shinkai background art.
So, but to do anything like his backgrounds, you would need to hire God of interns.
I guess they're looking
or
for
the
interns
quality's going to go way down, or I don't know.
Well,
or
maybe,
they're going to whip them until they do it
Maybe
right.
they're trying to make more people. They're just going to put them in front of sad videos of puppies and just wait until they start crying and then make them draw.
Listen, if you really like clouds, this is a job for you.
Or possibly cherry blossoms.
Yeah, clouds though, mostly.
Cloud blossoms.
It's going to be a hard ass.
Trains.
It's going to be a real hard job.
Power lines for trains.
Sure.
With clouds in the background.
Oh, always clouds.
So things of the day. What do you got for me?
So I'm pretty sure I used this before, but I extensively searched and may have failed at finding when I used this before. So I'm using it. Fuck you. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's called, you definitely heard of it, Mame Shiba. It is dogs that are also beans.
I would have sworn you used that.
I also would have sworn I used it.
That maybe we had a party and you used it for our crew, but you did not ever put it on the show.
I don't know, but I found out about it from our crew at a party. So anyway, Mama Shiba is these bean dogs, and basically there's YouTube TV episodes which are like incredibly short. There's books. There's all kinds of you can buy plushies. It's a whole empire, sort of the same way Moyashiman was an empire of stuff. And basically the shtick is this: somebody's sitting around. And maybe they're doing something, and a Mama Shiba appears. It's a bean that looks like a dog, and there's all different. There's one for every kind of bean, and then it says some sort of weird fact that may or may not be true. That is just like, what the fuck? And then it goes Mama Shiba, and that's it.
That is definitely a formula for success.
It is a formula for success. The official Mama Shiba website says. What exactly is Mama Shiba? They're not quite a bean nor a dog, but rather a hybrid of both. They love to appear out of nowhere and offer random bits of trivia, whether you asked for it or not. That pretty much sums it up entirely. It's pretty funny. I like it. If I've used it before, I don't give a shit. There's no other good things of the day to use that aren't just college humor. So this is what you get. A possible repeat.
For a long time, like I would just pick like some random funny video, the kind of thing that when it's like 11:30 and one of our parties is winding down, there's like 3 people left, we always end up in front of the TV watching random internet shit, usually going through the things of the day. But recently, we've been using a lot of more newsy kind of things of the day, like, oh, check out this interesting fact, as opposed to, here's a 2-minute video you can watch. I'm going back to just videos for a while, just things that you can watch. Show to your mom, she'll go, what the fuck's wrong with you? It's Dragonite, bitch.
Okay, I like Dragonite, it's my favorite.
Yeah, well, this video will be up your alley then.
I mean, except for Spiritomb.
This is a particular style of internet humor that I like to call power thirst. It's the same joke, just Dragonite instead of Gatorade.
Well, I mean, Dragonite's 10 times more powerful than...
Well, it's the OG.
Yeah, of course.
So in the meta moment, which we're trying to do more quickly lately because you guys don't care about a lot of this stuff unless you live near us, Kineticon's coming up. We'll be there, not doing a lot of panels because we're running the panels department. Book Club Book is still Isaac Asimov's Foundation. Secret Book Club Book is R. Scott Bakker's Prince of Nothing series. A lot of you have been bugging us to interview him. We never really pursued that. If you really want us to interview him, keep bugging us, and I don't know, bug him too.
I gotta finish the books again, and then we can do it.
You realize if we interview him, we're gonna have to make sure we do something that every other jackass hasn't already done. He's already been interviewed by people.
We're gonna ask him all the questions that no one else has asked.
No, we're gonna do a profile in Geek.
That too, but also, how big is the tusk? What animal is it from?
We'll just go down the list of every character in alphabetical order, and we'll be like, so how big is his junk? Until he hangs up on us. Of course, I don't know. I feel like he might answer, and that might be dangerous.
He seems to be into that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Any more meta moments?
PAX Dev is coming up. We may or may not be there. We cannot officially say anything yet.
Kineticon, definitely. Magstock, maybe.
Magstock, Maggie, maybe. Magfest, long way out. More gaming than anime, but convention culture. We went to Magfest last year. It was fucking awesome. I guess it was this year, technically. It was fucking awesome. We're gonna go back, and it's moving to a real venue. It's in the Gaylord, where Katsucon was, maybe still is. I don't know.
Go to frontrowcrew.com because, go to twitter.com/geeknights because, go to forum.frontrecrew.com.
Yep, check out Geeknights Rim, my YouTube channel, which has Radio Free Equestria, one of our shows we've launched. Another show's coming in the works.
We have a shop. Are all the t-shirts sold?
Don't buy t-shirts. I gotta shut down the shop.
I saw somebody was inquiring about his status. Did you actually mail them out?
Yep, I pinged him back. I gave one guy a free t-shirt. I gave everyone else 50% discounts. All right. And we're out of goddamn shirts.
Okay, so we're gonna order some more merch, right? Before Kineticon, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, get on that shit.
Yeah, maybe. We need another design.
All right, we can reorder the original one also, though.
Yeah, we could. I gotta contact the people and see if they still have the templates and everything.
If you design an awesome Geek Night shirt and we think it's worth making...
We'll sell it and make all the money.
And give you maybe a portion of the money that is tiny. Who knows?
Yeah.
You can also just make your own goddamn Geek Night shirt because it's Creative Commons.
Yeah, pretty much everything we do is Creative Commons.
That's right. So but that's all you.
So a while ago, some time ago, I was watching way more anime than Scott. And now
that was a long time ago.
Now we're a few years ago. Now we're pretty much in the exact opposite situation.
Well, actually not anymore, because I watched a fuck ton of anime in the past few months, and in the past 1 month or so, I stopped watching all animes.
I think what happened to you is you're like a spaceship that got caught in a gravity well of things like Hajime no Ippo, where it pulls you in, you gotta watch the whole thing, and then you catapult out of it.
Yep. I mean, I would if I could get a hold of it. I would watch Queen Millennia, but I can't seem to find all the episodes with subtitles, so I can't get pulled into it.
Yep, and I've been working on a lot of stuff where
I've also been working on a lot of stuff.
So I'm doing stuff, and I want to watch anime or something, but I want something I can watch kind of not with the full attention, like not looking directly at the screen the whole time.
Pony sort of ruined everything.
Yeah, Pony's kind of got in the way.
Yeah.
So we're going to both talk about anime that we know the other person hasn't seen.
Also comics.
Also some comics.
It's pretty much like, hey, this is going to be like a flurry of geek bites of things that I watched and Rim didn't watch, and vice versa.
So I'll start because we don't review a lot of recent anime lately, and I want to rectify that. So I've been watching 3 anime simultaneously.
Oh, shit.
Because as you all know, Madhouse and Marvel teamed up to make 4 anime based on Marvel properties.
Really? I didn't...
Wow, really?
I guess I did sort of know, but I
You
sort of also...
really?
It's like I knew it, but I sort of also forgot about it, and it sort of felt like something that was in the future.
Scott, there's a Madhouse, Wolverine, X-Men, separate from Wolverine, Iron Man, and I think Blade is the one that isn't out yet or I haven't seen or I don't really care about because I don't really care about Blade.
Yeah, okay. So how are they?
I've watched a few episodes of all of them, and the animation is fantastic. Like,
I imagine
great.
They put a ton of monies into it, right?
Yeah, and it looks great. Like Rintaro did the pilot for I think the X-Men one, and a lot of big people. You know, it's like all the different teams at Madhouse are on this, and it's looking pretty great. So the Iron Man one I think has the most potential.
But I hate Iron Man.
Yeah, you know what? Iron Man is a gigantic douche.
I know, that's why I hate Iron Man.
And it's great.
No,
because in Japan, he gets interviewed, like in I think the first episode, and they're like, so he's like, how can I be more popular with the Japanese people? They don't seem to like me that much. And the reporter's like, well, you could stop being such a douche, basically. She's like, you could be more humble. And he's like, yeah, that's really outside of my abilities. You ask too much. I guess I won't be. I feel like, to not spoil anything, it's about a dude with a power suit.
Yeah.
I feel like Japan could not cock that up.
Yeah, it's pretty much their specialty.
And the plot seems to be kind of giant robo-y. Iron Man or Ava. Iron Man made a production model of the Iron Man suit, and they got a bunch of pilots from Japan and other places to be Iron Man so he can retire from being Iron Man and just be a guy again.
Oh.
And the suit goes crazy and kills all the pilots. And he has to get in the prototype Iron Man suit and save the day.
Me and play gods.
It's pretty great.
It's caveman science fiction.
X-Men is pretty much just imagine the X-Men cartoon we knew and loved, only done by Madhouse.
Okay.
It's great. At least as far as I've seen. All the characters look, they're very like, I don't know, the 90s, like the style of X-Men that we like. And the animation is great. Kind of thick line, but I like it. The fighting is super awesome. You know, it's a good show.
Oh, see, that's something else I don't see too often is actual fighting that's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch fighting in the same way that a lot of old, like Birdy the Mighty had similar fun fighting.
Even in Hajime no Ippo, the fighting, is fun not because it's intense, and very rarely is the animation of the fighting something that's other than like repeat of a special move.
Fist of the North Star fighting is fun to watch, but
only because the dude fucking explodes all over the place.
Yep.
It's not animated in a Cowboy Bebop.
No, it is not.
The first fight of Cowboy Bebop, I think, is like,
that's one of my favorite fights in anything ever. Except
the first lesson in
Dead Wife Kick in Iron Monkey.
I know, but I'm talking about animated fight choreography. Cowboy Bebop episode 1, fight outside the cantina is pretty much number 1.
I think it's specifically the kick and the table. Like that part right there got me.
Yep. Anyway.
The Wolverine one is the only one that sucks.
Oh, it actually sucks?
So
it's not like, oh shit, is Wolverine?
So in the regular X-Men, it's oh shit, is Wolverine. Wolverine is always hunched with his arms out and the blades. He's just like, all
right.
And if they didn't tell you that the Wolverine anime is Wolverine, and if the fan sub didn't keep using bub, even though I don't hear anyone actually saying bub, you would not know it's Wolverine. It is, unless you knew all the plot of Wolverine and you recognize the plot.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically Bishonen-looking guy who happens to be invincible and have claws is in Japan fucking shit up. It's just really...
Well, that's interesting because it's like Iron Man never really went to Japan as far as I know.
So yeah, all the plots of these are...
X-Men don't go to Japan that often, but Wolverine is all about Japan. He has a huge Japan part of his life.
And it follows the Wolverine in Japan plot, except he's all kind of Bishonen.
Uh-huh.
He's not nearly gruff enough.
Alrighty.
And
the thing is, when he was in Japan, that was the most gruffest.
I know
that he was comics wise. So that's interesting.
So I watched one episode of that and gave up on it. But the regular X-Men one, it's like they took all his gruff out of Wolverine and put it all into the X-Men anime.
All right, let's see. I watched a ton of animes, but most of them were old.
And also, they're like one show that you went all the fuck way through.
And a lot of them are like I saw so many Leiji Matsumoto's, like Space Battleship Yamato, all of Captain Harlock, all of Galaxy Express, all of Galaxy Railways, all of Space Symphony Maytel. Right.
Many of these are shows that I've seen several episodes of, but just didn't finish.
Yeah.
I mean, Galaxy Express, I got like 40 in, and then I got to watch more.
All right. So I think the one I want to talk about, though, is I want to talk about Galaxy Railways, right? Because that's newer, and it's you can just get like all the DVDs in a whole bunch. I think it might even be on Netflix or something, right? So the deal with Galaxy Railways is it's basically when you're watching Galaxy Express, right? Sometimes it'll be like the Galaxy Railways will have to enforce the law of the trains.
Yep.
And the rules of the trains basically change episode to episode to serve the plot.
Yeah.
But they're always jerks. Like like you can't get on a train without a ticket, except we'll make a special exception for main characters.
You mess with our train, we'll kill you all.
Yeah, if you fuck with the train, we'll just blow your brains out and all these sorts of things. So Galaxy Railways is like two separate TV series, right? There's a season 1 and a season 2. And basically, it follows the story of this kid whose dad works for the Galaxy Railways, and his dad is like the best pilot ever, the best train captain.
I was gonna say pilot.
Right? Yeah, train captain, engineer, whatever it is, right? And basically, his dad is his dad rides the train that is like the defense train, right? It's not a passenger train. It's the train that goes out when another train's in trouble to save it from whatever horrible secret of space is attacking it this week. So his dad dies, and this kid grows up and then tries to get the same job as his dad, right? So he goes to work for the train, and of course it makes and his mom is all upset. And the story follows this, both seasons follow this kid who grows up, obviously, working in the Galaxy Railways on the defense train. And it's sort of like, the quality of it, some of the episodes are episodic Galaxy Express style, right? It's like this episode, they have to go and there's some weird thing happening on this planet and they go and they rescue a train. And this episodic stuff. But there's also a plot that sort of also, goes on. Not only development of the characters, but also like, ooh, there's a secret of the Galaxy Railways. What is it? Someone's up to no good. Will you uncover this no goodness? And it has to do with like, the Galaxy Railways themselves, the technology that makes them work is tearing a hole in space and disrupting this other universe, and that other universe wants to attack the Galaxy Railways, and someone's covering it up, and something along those lines.
How Matsumoto-y is it?
It's kind of Matsumoto-y, right? It's like half, right? It's like half Matsumoto, half modern, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's like the greatest show ever of all time, but it's definitely like, it's like a B+ show. The second season, sort of goes, the first season has sort of an end, but the second season builds up to a more real-ish end that puts a nail in everything. But the second season has different characters they bring in, and all that kind of stuff that, usually happens in the second season.
Yep.
So it's like if you're really attached to the stuff in the first season, you feel a little bit detached in the second season because there's these characters you care less about. There's also an OAV that goes between the two seasons that basically is a crossover between Galaxy Express and Galaxy Railways, where Maytel and Tetsuro, they meet up with the Galaxy Railways guys in some weird dimension planet for against the bad guy, and everything's weird. It's an OAV. That's what they do.
That is what they do.
But yeah, if it's like if you're already a Galaxy train fan, then Galaxy Railways will probably work out for you. If you're not, you might be a little bit lost, but you should be able to understand it. But I think the reason that you'll be lost is because a lot of the enjoyment I got from the show, honestly, is because I already knew what the Galaxy Railways was. And in the other shows, the Galaxy Railways, they never show you anyone's face. It's like this mysterious and incredibly powerful
it would be kind
overseer of the trains.
It would be kind of like if they made an Ava spinoff that was about all the background characters.
Yeah,
or
a Neva
something.
spinoff that was about Sele, and it was just like Sele guys hanging out, like, what's up? And you could totally see them, and they were just, right? That's sort of, so it's like, so the fact that I had this mystique of the Galaxy Railways and the show builds on that is what sort of gives it a lot of its feeling. And if you don't have that care for the Galaxy Railways as an organization, some of that feeling may be lost. But the show should still hold up.
I feel like a lot
you don't
of it
need
might
to
be
have
lost.
You don't need to have any pre-knowledge to understand what's going on.
Of the Galaxy Express 39 that I've seen, the Galaxy Railways is basically in the Chinese kung fu movie, the guy in the white suit is not doing anything.
Yep. Well, he does something a couple
Every
episodes.
now and then he comes in and does something, then he goes away, and you want to know where he went.
Yeah, this is guy in white suit kicking ass every episode. Of course, there's another level of guys in white suits, to keep the show interesting.
So it wasn't that long ago, actually, that I watched, remember Birdy the Mighty, the old anime that was actually pretty fun?
That I never watched.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Birdy the Mighty was remade. I think I did a Geek Bite on this a while ago. Birdy the Mighty Decode, and then they made a sequel to that, which I haven't watched yet. And it has all the same things that I like about the X-Men anime Birdy the Mighty actually had, because it's like superhero, sci-fi, well-choreographed fights, good music, good animation, fun to watch. I don't really want to say much more about it other than that if you're an anime fan, not, like an actual, like, I enjoy anime. Birdy the Mighty Decode is one of those kinds of anime that reminds you how much you like even the dumb sci-fi anime. There's something to the dumb sci-fi anime.
I've been trying to, because I've been in anime drought, I've been looking for one to go next with.
You really should watch Birdy the Mighty Decode.
Maybe I'll do Birdy the Mighty, then Birdy Decode, and then Birdy Decode 2. I'll do the whole thing.
Nah.
I've been good at that lately.
The thing is, the original Birdy the Mighty is a pretty good show. I didn't finish it, but I'd seen a whole bunch of it. I think it was because Gerald recommended it.
I've seen Zero, but I haven't heard anyone say anything bad
and
about
people at
any
RIT
of it.
Anime had always told me to watch it.
Yeah. I've only heard good things about all Birdy the Mighties, but I've never seen any, so maybe I'll get on that.
It's just one of those, it's got the kind of over-the-top anime kind of plot, kind of stereotypical. You can kind of see where it's going, but at the same time, the plot is interesting. It's kind of a giant Robo-y plot, but scale it back like 100-fold.
Mm-hmm.
And her power suit has high heels.
Maybe now I don't want it. Now you're making it not appealing now.
See, you'll think that, but then you watch it and you're like, wow, really? High heels?
Okay.
It's definitely it's kind of playing with the tropes of old anime, but doing it in a fun way.
Mm-hmm. All right, another show I watched completely all of that I know. I think there's some OAVs and movies I haven't seen, but I watched the entire Votoms TV series, all 3 parts.
I've seen 11 episodes of Votoms.
Right. So basically, the deal with Votoms is this, right? You got this guy who he's in some military where they use, powered armors that are sort of like battle mechs, but smaller.
Kind of Gundam-y, but, the shit Gundam.
Slower.
Like the non-Gundams.
Yeah, the slow lumbering type, right? And he's on some secret mission. And during the secret mission, he encounters some weird secret of space, like this magical girl of some kind, and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And then he, sort of escapes this secret mission, and he loses memory, and he doesn't have any memory before that mission, and he's sort of like, what the fuck? So the show's, and it's the story of what's up with this guy. He has no memory really, but he's an awesome pilot of mech suits. So part 1 is like he's trapped in this city, where there's all these bad guys going on. In part 2, he's on another planet, in a jungle scenario. And in part 3, he's on a completely different planet. Well, he's in space, then he's on a different planet. So part 1, obviously starts off with that secret mission. And then it sort of, builds and it sort of gets in this groove of being a pretty typical mech show, like B quality. It's all right. We got a mech show going on here. Some interesting stuff.
I mean, it's the kind of thing like people in our crew put it on while we were in Wildwood on the shore and just put 6 episodes on in a row while we're dicking around playing games.
It's sort of like a Gundam, but a little bit less, good, right?
Yeah. Also a little less Gundam-y and a little more military.
Yeah, and it's
it has a little more, from what I saw, it's a little closer to some of the stuff that goes on in, like Venus Wars in terms of the way people fight.
Yeah, definitely the style
on.
of it is definitely more that, early 90s, Tank Police kind of aesthetic as opposed to a Gundam
God, we should just watch
aesthetic.
Tank Police again.
Anyway, so part 2 in the jungle actually starts off where you're kind of like, But then it sort of builds towards something, and you're like, oh, okay, they're bringing it back into the plot. Because the beginning of that second arc with the jungle, I was sort of being like, what? Should I stop watching? Because I'm not too interested now.
It seems like it's definitely a show worth watching, and I will finish it someday.
But
I got all the DVDs that were lent to me.
But then the third part, right? This is, it's like, people talk about shows like Gao Gai Gar and how they start off crap and then get good later. So, right? And I'm always like, it's not worth sitting through crap to get to the good part, right? But Votoms is like you sit through the slightly above average part to get to the above average part. It doesn't get amazing. It gets pretty great good, right? So it's basically B, and you get to part 3 and it's like A-. Right?
A-, that's some pretty heady praise.
It's pretty good, but it's not like the best,
Yeah.
But yeah, so that third part basically is where it busts out, the anime sci-fi stuff where like there's the terrible secret of space and you find out what it is.
I love old sci-fi stuff where the terrible secret is revealed and then there's like 10 more episodes.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because in a lot of shows, there'll be a terrible secret of space that might be revealed at the very, very end, Escaflowne.
Yep.
Right? The very, very end, they reveal it, and we're done. Or they'll sort of half reveal it, and they won't completely answer everything, and then they're done. Votoms, they answer 99 or 100% of the terrible secret of space well before the final episode. So they actually, it's like you learn a lot of terrible secrets of space, and they build on it over quite a few episodes towards the end of that third arc. And there's sort of also sub-secrets of space. So it's like square bosses upon square bosses, and each one is a good one. And so that third arc is pretty good. I liked it. And
you're pumping me up. I think I'll have to move this up in the queue.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched the Votoms and you like sci-fi animes, go for it. And it is a mecha show. There are robot fights, but actually there's like a lot less robot fighting than, say, a Gundam or whatever.
And when there is, it seems, like I said, more like a Venus Wars fight.
Yeah, and the thing is, in the early...
Gasaraki a little.
There are some things that are, presented as, like, tournaments, but not really. It's pretty much like, hey, it's part of the plot. Like, hey, we're going to use you, to fight for money in the games because you have these mad robot skills. And then he sort of tries to escape from them. It's not like they ever
Come
actually...
on, why would you try to escape from One Must Fall 2097?
Yeah, it's not like a tournament ever actually happens or anything like that, right? All the robot fighting is actually battles that have a reason in the context of the plot. It's never like one battle per episode because you have to or anything like that. And the robots actually are sort of all, more, there are sort of superpowers, right? And sci-fi things that make them, some people just awesome.
Coordinators, new types.
Yeah, pretty much exactly that. But despite that, the robots are pretty slow and lumbering, and the weapon attacks are pretty, more, I guess not realistic, but more like BattleTech and less like...
Less firing the low and greens.
Yeah, less of that.
So speaking of B+, A- anime and terrible secrets of space, I watched all of Scrap Princess instead of going to a class at RIT, and I then failed.
I never watched the Scrap Princess.
You know
I think
what?
I watched 4 episodes at an anime club meeting.
Scrap Princess is a solid B+.
I think it's
through.
largely forgotten by people.
I know. Scrap Princess, the plot of Scrap Princess, on the surface, it is a fantasy world. There's wizards.
And there's not too many fantasy anime out there.
Yeah. I should add this to that Anime You Should See panel on, hey, fantasy anime, there aren't that many.
Yep.
But it's a fantasy world on the surface, but really it's sci-fi. It's one of those worlds where there's magic and wizards and swords and whatnot, but yet the terrible secret of space, it's kind of obvious from a meta level that the magic is actually very advanced science, but people have forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And there's space plot that people don't see coming.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to avoid spoiling, but also spoiling just enough to get people to consider watching the show that, yes, this is a space sci-fi terrible secret show that pretends to be fantasy.
So it's like it was a sci-fi world, but then some sort of apocalypse happened that turned it into a fantasy medieval world.
It picks up in media res. The story is that the Scrapped Princess is a girl who, for various reasons, is destined as far as the establishment of this world says, the protectors of the world, the rulers, everyone, she will destroy the world when she turns a certain age.
So why don't they just kill her before then?
Yeah, that's what they do. The world is like,
destroyed?
all right, we figured this out. We're going to murder her.
Well, how do they know this? Where's the legend come from?
So that's part of the plot. You don't know right away where this comes from. It's just everybody knows it. That's like the legend of forever.
Oh, so how do they know it's her?
Well, that's the plot. They know.
Okay.
And some people smuggle her away and try to protect her because they think this is all bullshit.
They really just care about her? They don't. I thought that they were just people who, wanted the world to end.
One of them cares about her, but basically says, if it turns out that this is true, I love you, but I will kill you.
But that's like...
And the other person just cares about her and thinks this is bullshit. It's complicated.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, though. It's like they're saving her because they care about her. It's like the real reason to save her because you want the world to end, right? Not because...
Well, maybe there are people who want that, too. There's a lot of characters in this show, and it starts out slightly episodic, like a lot of shows like that do, and then... the sci-fi plot builds and builds and builds. The characters are great. There's a couple of really big turnabouts. It's B+, 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 all the way through. It would have been an A- show, except, you know how I said I like a show where the terrible secret is revealed and then you've got like 10 more episodes?
Mm-hmm.
So the last episode, right? The eye catch happens halfway through the episode. Jack and shit.
Okay.
The second half of the last episode reveals... the entire terrible secret from space, resolves it all, and has the epilogue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they ran out of money. I don't know what. But this show could have been A- if they had done that, like, even an episode earlier.
Yeah. So does the pacing get really fast at the end?
No, the pacing is the same rate all the way through, and then after the eye catch, end. Like, it's crazy. I can't think of any show short of... what's that show that ended early? They ran out of money, so they said, fuck it. We have
a lot of them?
Well, I'll look it up later and put it in the show notes, because the title just escapes me.
Okay. There's a lot of shows that did that.
Yeah. But anyway, that's my only complaint with the show, and that brings it down to the B+ instead of the A-. But it's definitely worth watching if you're looking for a pretty good anime to watch. Mm-hmm. Pretty good, not great.
All right. Let's see here. You know what I watched?
What'd you watch?
100% of?
Galaxy Fraulein Yuna.
I only watched part of that.
Anyway.
I should finish it, though. It's not that long.
No, it's not. I've got it right there.
I watched all the Patlabor, the OAV TV series, second TV series, second OAV, movie. I've watched all of it.
I've only seen movie.
See, here's something that happened, right? So I knew Patlabor was a cool thing. At RIT, I tried to watch a bunch of it. I watched 2 movies on VHS, and I watched the VHSs from the Anime Club. But the VHS from the Anime Club were sort of screwy. See, people don't know this, but the laser discs of Patlabor, if you bought them, the first episode on the laser disc would be an episode from OAV, I think 1 or 2, I don't remember. But then the rest of the Laserdisc would be TV episodes. So it was sort of like OAV and TV episodes were mixed on the Laserdiscs, and the VHSs were straight from the Laserdiscs. So they were also mixed up also, and I sort of didn't know. I didn't have that kind of information in the year 2000.
Just kind of watching, you're like, man,
Anime News Network Encyclopedia was not so fully fleshed.
The animation jumps all over the place. And
well, it was like why the opener changed and the plot wasn't, but I wasn't paying close enough attention.
I miss those days. Like, I remember watching this fan sub of like Project A-ko, and it had just all this random shit after Project A-ko ended.
Mm-hmm.
Just like 45 minutes of like music videos and stuff.
Yep. But anyway, so I went back, recently, and I rewatched all the Patlabor, and I understood which parts are which, and in the right order and everything. So here's how it breaks down. Everybody in the entire universe should watch Patlabor OAV #1. That is made by Mamoru Oshii. It is the first Patlabor there is. It is 100% awesome, and it's only a few episodes. It's made of tons of wind, right? And that introduces you to everything. Everyone in the entire goddamn universe should watch Patlabor movies 1 and 2, also made by Mamoru Oshii, also made of tons of wind all over the place, right?
Movies are good. That's
some
what
of
I've
the best
seen.
anime movies ever. And the thing is, you can watch the movies without having seen that first OAV, but I recommend watching the OAV first anyway because you'll get more familiar with the characters. And really, characters are what drives Patlabor, right? More so, it has robots, but it's basically the robots in the show. They're just basically police cars, It's
kind of like Gasaraki. The robots are just tanks.
Yeah, they just happen to be drawn as robots, right? The show would work. It's basically a police show. It might as well be Odoru Daisosasen, only they happen to have police robots.
Oh my god, I could watch that movie again.
In fact, it's incredibly like Odoru Daisosasen. I put it in the exact same genre.
We've done a show on Odoru Daisosasen, right?
I think we did a long time ago, yes.
I feel like we should watch it again and do a show on it again. I know. I'll get it. I'll fucking
both,
get it.
We gotta get both of them. Rainbow Bridge also.
Rainbow Bridge wasn't as good, though.
But it was still the part of the beginning.
That opening scene was great.
On the boat with the paintball. Yeah.
Actually, the whole thing was great except for the very end, which was kind of just
Yeah, but I mean, Rainbow Bridge wasn't as good as the original, but it was still.
I mean, for all you listeners who probably don't know what we're talking about, Odoru Daisosasen is a TV series and some movies in Japan about cops. Like if you like you're under arrest, like a character-driven cop drama, mostly humorous, also kind of serious. But the first movie we watched at RIT, and we liked it so much that when I was president of the RIT Anime Club, one of the big like privileges you get is that on the last day of your tenure, the final like meeting of the year of the season of everything, you show whatever the fuck you want. And I showed the live action Odoru Daisosasen.
Bayside Shakedown, baby.
And I gave all these hints. I was like, yeah, the opening theme is also in Dance Dance Revolution, which is true.
Yep.
None of you have seen it, which is true. It's about cops, which is true. The show got a standing ovation from the crowd at the end. It is one of the best goddamn movies.
This, according to
not best in like Citizen Kane.
According to Wikipedia, Bayside Shakedown 3 came out in summer 2010, but I'm checking that right now.
What's wrong with us? You know what's wrong with us? We don't have a video bar to tell us when stuff like that comes out.
I'm doing some searching right now, but anyway, Bayside Shakedown 3, yeah. It has a 5.7 on IMDb. Is it horrible? It might be awful.
Yeah, I think the trouble is Bayside Shakedown is the kind of movie that is besto if you're the kind of person who likes movies like Attack the Gas Station.
So back to Patlabor. Which is the same genre, right? So, you got movie 1, movie 2, OAV 1. Awesome. Then you got TV Series 1. TV Series 1 is not actually directed by Mamoru Oshii, but a lot of it, I think he's written some of it directly or indirectly, and you can sort of tell some of the episodes that he had a major influence on and the ones that he didn't, right? Like there's an episode that has no robots in it and is all about waiting for the Chinese food order to show up.
There was a Seinfeld about that too.
And that episode is so clearly Mamoru Oshii's doing, right? And there's like no robots in it whatsoever, and it's like one of the best freaking episodes. But anyway, it actually has a contiguous plot that, goes, tells a story, but some of the episodes are more episodic than others, and it's a little bit more lighthearted and less serious sci-fi anime than the movies in the first OAV.
Well, kind of like look at the differences between like Ghost in the Shell, the anime versus the manga versus the movies.
Exactly. So this is more like the standalone complex to the Ghost in the Shell movie.
Yeah.
Right? But it's still, I really like it a whole lot. You might not like it as much as the first OAV in the movies, but it's still good, and it gives you more of those characters, and they're in character, and it totally works. So it's like Patlabor is all about being attached to the characters, and if you're attached to them, you're going to want to watch TV series. The second OAV comes after the first TV series, before the second TV series, right? I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. And it sort of ties, it's sort of basically continuation of TV series into, the second, it's like the in-between part. It's just like a plot connector, right?
So I got a fairly egregious one. You do need to see it.
And then the second TV series.
Are you going to keep going?
Yeah.
You got more Patlabor?
Yeah. And the second TV series is sort of like, all right, we're just going to keep going, and the quality.
Just like you?
Yeah. The quality goes down, a little bit, but it's still good.
Yeah, it's one of those like A to A minus.
Wait, is there I'm trying to remember. Like maybe there isn't a second TV series or something.
Uh-oh. Careful.
I don't know.
Careful now.
This is the problem. According to Anime News Network, there isn't. I'm just remembering things fucked up. Like anyway.
All right, old man Scott.
Yeah, old man me. But anyway, you should watch all the Patlabors.
So a show that you, Scott, should watch so we can do a show on it, because I think it's actually a great goddamn show, is The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
I'll have to watch that at some point.
It's really good, and it's not about what you think it's about.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it's about? Because you've obviously heard about it. People have said things about it.
I've absorbed a lot of information. I've watched a few episodes, right? So from what I can tell, the few episodes I watched was like, okay, they're in school. There's a girl named Haruhi. She's totally weird. She drags in these other weird people. Clearly, each of the people has something weird about them, right? That is something sci-fi-ish, right? And from what I can tell, it's, it looks to be high school silliness with a weird girl at first glance. But really, based on all the things people say and all the things that I've just sort of absorbed from hearing.
Scott, it pulls a big O2.
Yeah, it's some sort of end of the world. Haruhi is aliens and who knows.
Well, here,
something crazy.
I will summarize it, yet simultaneously not actually spoil anything. I think most of our listeners have probably already seen Haruhi. And there's more Haruhi that was made later, but whatever. Basically, it's about a girl who's obsessed with finding anything crazy, like magic or aliens or ESP or, just finding something like that. Like our friend Scott Johnson. If you find one, then odds are some other ones out there too. Like if you find one vampire, shit is on.
That's right.
So she's obsessed with this, and she never finds anything because whatever. It just so happens that everyone around her is one of those things, except for this one guy who's friends with her. And he sees all this crazy stuff, and she doesn't see it.
Uh-huh.
Like, she can't find it, but he's always, running afoul of it. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's kind of the first layer gist of the show.
That's why she's melancholy, because she can't find any of these awesome things.
She's bored with existence. She's bored with life. She's bored with everything.
Uh-huh.
And it's a good show, really. It's solidly done. The animation's great. The story's great. The moral of it is pretty good. It's I call it an A-anime.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I figured out why I was fucked up in the head with Patlabor.
Because you're old?
No, because OAV2 basically might as well be TV2, right? So I was remembering them sort of like two separate things. Really, they're the same. So you watch, right? So it's the TV, right? And then the OAV2 comes after it. The OAV1 comes first. So it's OAV1, then TV2, then movie. If you want to go chronologically, right? But the movie standalone, the third movie actually, doesn't really have the characters in it. It has these other characters who are side characters.
Gundam Seed Destiny.
Yeah, it has it's basically focuses on these two detectives. It's still an okay anime sci-fi movie, but it's not super awesome Patlabor, but it's in the Patlabor universe.
All right. Even more egregious than Haruhi, the fact that you haven't actually seen Irresponsible Captain Tylor.
I watched a ton of it, though. At least 10 or 11 episodes.
Yeah, but you didn't even get to... It's one of those shows where it's like Big O, where,
I watched part of the movie.
The first half is great, and then the second half is like, I see,
I'm sure I'll watch it at some point, but I don't have a DVD box set.
I've got it. If I didn't lend it to anyone, I'll lend it to you, but I think I lent it to someone.
Oh, well, then I can't be borrowing it, can I?
We'll find it. It's on my AAA top list. I put it at the top with Cowboy Bebop and Ava.
No, you do.
Yeah.
No one else does.
I think you might.
I don't know.
Once you see it all.
Maybe.
It has a scene.
It's clear. It's definitely possible.
It has a scene at the end where somebody salutes somebody, and it is off the hook.
Rainbow Dash. Anyway. So I'm going to talk about a manga that I read. It's called 7 Billion Needles. It was put out by Vertical in the U.S. And it's actually only 4 little volumes, so you can totally get the whole thing real easy right? And basically the story in 7 Billion Needles is this girl who's mad bored with everything, right? She's in school. She doesn't have friends. She doesn't talk to anyone. She sits there with the headphones on all day. She's like, fuck this shit, right? And then she's on the beach for some reason, and something comes crashing out of space. Terrible secret. It actually possesses her, but it doesn't possess her like you're possessed by the demon. It's sort of like, now I'm living in your body alongside you, right? Some sort of space spirit of some
sort
kind.
Of symbiote.
Right, something. And it talks to her in her brain, right? And it also has incredible powers, but this thing has morals, so it won't just control her without her permission or use her body without her permission, right?
Birdy the Mighty is a lot of that anyway.
Yeah, because the Birdy Mighty is about the guy who transforms into, right?
Yeah, because she punches him to death by accident, and anyway.
Yeah, but anyway. So this thing possesses her and basically tells her, look, there's some horrible evil thing that's basically the opposite of me. It's a horrible evil thing that possesses and doesn't have morals and wants to eat your whole world. And I chased it here from outer space. So we have to find it and, do what I say. And over the course of 4 volumes, it actually, you think, 4 volumes. So the story is going to be find it, get beat by it, then come back, beat at the end. But actually, pretty early, it's like they encounter it and some crazy shit happens and a big change happens and it swings another direction really quickly.
Huh.
And it's like, whoa, that's really surprising. And I didn't actually read the 4th volume yet. I'm going to reread from 1, 2, 3, 4 in one go just so I can get the whole picture. So I could imagine another big swing near the end being very likely. So, if you like, sci-fi animes, or mangas at least, and you like things that are short and cheap, but also highbrow, right, without a lot of dragging out of fights or anything like that, you should definitely pick up all 4 volumes of 7 Billion Needles at your earliest opportunity.
All right, we should probably wind this down. I guess I just got one more. I don't know if you have any more.
I could do a quick one if necessary.
All right, I'll do a quick one too. I'll skip on all these things that I got listed here. But this is kind of an old one. But have you actually read any of the Urusei Yatsura manga?
No, I didn't know there was a manga. I thought it was incredibly long anime, and that was it.
It's also an incredibly long manga.
I did not know that.
Because it's done by Miss Let's Write Incredibly Long Manga that don't go anywhere.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Urusei Yatsura manga is up your alley to a degree that is startling. You realize that...
I'm sure I know it is, but it's like to get all of Urusei Yatsura is very difficult.
Yeah. I mean, everyone I know read the old volumes that were put out in America that were bound very poorly and fell apart immediately. Like, so fast, it's ridiculous. But it's like, you like Hakaba Kitaro.
I do.
It's a lot like that. It's
is.
very, like, inside baseball,
I would get the entire TV series and all the movies from Anime Ego, but they sort of stopped printing some of them, and the DVDs were always so expensive.
The thing is,
if they would have just made a slim case with the whole thing guaranteed in one shot with one empty spot.
Well,
to put
remember
the
there
movie.
was that box set of all the movies except 2.
But that's all the movies. I want the whole TV series in a slim case of some kind, right? And all those movies except for number 2. In a box for like $100.
Yep.
I'd do it.
So I guess my thing here is all the Rumiko Takahashi stuff, because I don't think you've actually, how much Ranma have you actually seen or read?
Maybe 5 to 10 episodes.
How much? I've seen like at least half of Ranma.
Whoa.
How about Meizan Ikoku?
1 or 2 episodes and maybe half a manga volume.
I read the whole manga, cow style.
I know you did.
Yeah. But I love that stuff is great, and I think Urusei Yatsura is my favorite of it. But you know what? Ranma is some funny shit, and I feel like people don't give it enough credit for being some funny shit.
I feel like new fans never go to watch Ranma.
But I feel like new fans would love Ranma if they just watched it. I don't think they realize it's a Goonie comedy.
Yeah, it's almost like it was a gateway drug of, some bygone era, and that it was sort of all used up, and now people are, using Naruto or whatever.
Yeah,
because
in the old days, like, I would take friends in high school, and they'd never even heard of anime. I'd be like, watch this. I'd show them, like, 1 episode of Ranma. And they're like, wait, so this is a show about a guy who turns into a girl, and that guy's
whenever
a goose.
They get wet.
And they'd love it, and they'd turn into anime fans.
Yeah. Maybe we should try out some Ranma on some people, see if it still works.
Yeah, it might. It might.
It might, Rabbit.
You got it? You got one? One more?
One more?
One more? If
All
not,
right.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 more.
All right, fine. I do have a lot more. Most of them are. Let's talk about Rose of Versailles, which I watched all of.
I've seen up to all the Madame du Barry stuff, not that far.
That's so early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madame du Barry gets out of the show.
Herp de derp de der and derp
de der.
herp de derp de der.
So Rose of Versailles is totally awesome.
Yeah.
If you don't
Scott,
watch it,
how many Louis were there?
Too many.
Yeah.
The point is, it's totally awesome. The end is totally the French Revolution. If you didn't know that, oh my gosh.
Yeah, people might die.
I should watch it again. It was so good.
As soon as I finish Fist of the North Star, which I'm doing slowly because I've been busy, I think Rose of Versailles is my next big long one.
Yeah, I just couldn't hold back. We were watching it together, 1 episode at a time, but then I just said, "Oh fuck it," and I watched the whole thing.
It'd be really easy to do because every time, like, we'd watch an episode or 2 at your place, and then we'd have to go home, and on the like bus home, I'd be like, "Fuck, what happens?"
I know everything that happens.
Yeah, you know what? They die.
You know what? Guess what happens to the Bastille?
I believe people break into it.
Do you know what happens to Versailles?
The palace? Because
Yeah.
it's still there today.
I know, nothing. It's only kill. I'm just checking.
But what happens to the roses?
Do you know what happens to Robespierre?
You get shot in the jaw and then guillotined.
Yep.
He might have shot himself in the jaw.
What happens to Marie Antoinette?
I guess the chop.
That's right. Everything that happens in real life happens in the show, except the show. I'm not going to tell you at which point in history the show ends, because some of those things happen after the end of the show.
Oh, shit, son.
And some of those things happen before the end of the show. So you don't get to see the whole thing.
It's a great show.
It is the awesomest.
As opposed to, say, Brother, Dear Brother, which...
I haven't watched.
You haven't watched Brother, Dear Brother? Come on. I'm going to
one.
spoil Brother, Dear... No, I'll save that for another time.
Everyone dies.
I used to have a hobby where people would be like, oh, I heard that, Utena was kind of like a lot of the style and theme were borrowed from Brother, Dear Brother. And I would say, all right, look, I'm going to spoil Brother, Dear Brother for you, and you're never going to watch the show now. And I've been thanked in every case.
All right. So how come you're not doing it right now?
Because it's gone on for an hour.
All right.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.